All right. Well, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Talk About It Live with Frank and Manny. How you doing this morning, Frank?
Hey,
We're
doing good,
doing
brother.
well. We got our
Doing good.
winter twin power activated there. So for those
Good
of you who don't
morning.
know, that's super friends. Anyway, so yeah, good morning, brother. We got our coffee going on this morning. Had our nice taco going on this morning as
Oh
well.
yeah,
So man, I'm feeling energized.
yeah. It was good, bro. Especially outside. It's damp. It's chilly. It's that kind of cold that sinks into your bones, and so it's good to walk in and there's some coffee going.
Oh
Enjoy our
man.
tacos. Hey, good morning, everybody. God bless you. God bless Texas. Thanks for being with us today.
Yes, amen. And so we're excited about today's program. We got a special guest on board with us here. We're going to introduce here in a couple of minutes, and so it's pretty awesome, man. This is a time that we're coming into where people are getting ready, for primaries and people getting
Yes.
ready, for elections and whatnot. And so, but it's also a time I think when the voter needs to get out there and start researching and
Exactly.
doing some investigation on who they're going to be voting for, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do here, folks. We're bringing attention to what's going on in our country, and as you know, Manny and I have been involved in national security, border security. Manny's a 25-year veteran of the Border Patrol. 30 years myself. Manny was an Army veteran, as I was 3 year in the military police, and so it's good to bring information to you, create awareness, but also bringing you the people that want to represent you, bringing you the people that are going to be your voice in whatever office you're choosing to run for. And so, we welcome the opportunity, in a sense, to vet the candidates. I
Right.
mean, because
Exactly.
especially when we get people like our guest here, Victor Avila, who is running for land commissioner. The decisions he makes, the office he runs, the people he appoints, the people he influences are also, and the decisions he makes are going to impact us. And so we are providing you a service, by bringing them on board and asking questions and, introducing them to you.
Right. And so, without further ado, I want to welcome our guest, Victor Avila. How you doing this morning, Victor?
Hey, Victor.
I'm doing really good, guys. Thank you so much, Manny and Frank. Good morning to you. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I want to start off by saying thank you for everything that you guys do. I follow you guys very closely,
Oh, we
All right.
appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
and I love the Facebook lives. You help keep me informed as well. Aside from the context that I have on a daily basis, as I continue to talk to my colleagues and other sources that I have down at the border. But you guys are amazing with what you do and bringing the awareness, because that's something that I've been wanting and I've been doing for the last 2 years, going around the state of Texas, telling people this is what's going on. And then of course this year it happens and it just blows out of proportion. But yeah, lots to talk about today. Very excited.
Thank you, Victor.
Yep.
So where are you coming from today, Victor? Where do you call home in this great state of Texas, man?
I'm in the Dallas Fort Worth area,
Okay.
just really in South Lake, Texas, just north of DFW
Okay.
airport.
Oh, South Lake.
A little damp and chilly this morning. The weather's been crazy here. It's 50 degrees one day, and then the next day it's 80 degrees.
Yeah. Welcome to Texas.
Yeah, and actually, I go to South Lake quite often. Actually, King's University where I attended is over there in South Lake, and so I really like that area. Well, so we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. For those of you who don't know, Victor Avila is running for Texas Land Commissioner, right? Texas State Land Commissioner. And I think a lot of people, for me, until I started investigating what that office is about, I didn't realize how much influence that office can have as far as like border security goes, which is huge for us down here. Constitutional carry, and of course, every time we hear land commissioner, we just basically think of, all right, they're just going to help partial out land and whatnot, but there's a lot more involved in that, right?
A lot of more with this office. This is actually a very important office, and it's one of those kind of obscure offices that the regular citizen doesn't know about. But I tell you, who does know about is the politicians.
Right.
And I use that word on purpose because they seem to like this office to get forward into their political careers. They like to use the Texas Land Commissioner. I mean, look at some of the people that are running. Um, you already hold office in another position. Why do you want to be Texas Land Commissioner? Because this is the office that's been used traditionally to gain higher office. George P. Bush, who is the current Texas Land Commissioner, is running for Attorney General. other
Wow.
of my opponents are running, want to be Texas Land Commissioner because they want to be probably higher office. My purpose of running for this office is to save Texas and
Amen.
to represent the people. And just like you guys, I've had enough with what's happening at our border, and I got to the point where I always go around talking to people and say, step up, run for your school board,
Right.
go to your city council meetings, county commissioners, be aware of what's going on locally, and get involved. And I kind of looked at myself in the mirror and I said, you know what, this is the opportunity for me to then practice what I preach.
Amen, bro.
And
Amen.
so I this is the it kind of had kind of like a calling. I came in a little late in the race, but we've had a tremendous outpour of good support, and we're gonna go for it for the primary in March, and we'll be there for the runoff. And yes, let me tell you a little bit about this office. This office oversees 13 million acres of Texas public land,
Wow.
and a lot of people like, what does that have to do with the border? Well, you saw just what happened this past Saturday. And I'll tell you how I have mixed feelings of what happened this past Saturday with Abbott there, and
And the
and
wall
George
and
P.
all that
Bush,
stuff.
and
Yeah.
the Texas Land Commissioner was there.
Wow.
Um, you know, you guys, I love talking to you guys because you understand this issue very well, and we need to have some kind of a barrier, some kind of infrastructure, some kind of technology everywhere along our border,
Right.
everywhere that we can put it. And a lot of it is state owned land. And so you saw them build. I think they're building like a couple of 2, 3 football fields lengths of wall there
Yeah.
on Saturday that Abbott is doing. I'm not sure it's effective as far as haven't seen Abbott stop one single illegal alien from coming into our country.
Yeah.
Not one.
Neither have we. Yeah.
Yeah. No, no.
And so a lot of it is I'm tired of the political optics. I'm tired of the this is I sent National Guard down there. There's 500 DPS troopers. Yeah, but there's 2 million people, and you and I know there's more than
Mm.
2 million people that with the gotaways, and so enough is enough. I will build a wall specifically where the traffic is coming in. I'll put a barrier. I'll put infrastructure. I'll put whatever it is from the state of Texas because we know Biden's not going to do it.
Right.
We know they're never going to do it. So we have to step up. And one thing that they did start talking to, according to the land commissioner, is contact the private landowners and the ranchers. And I have, you guys, I've been going down there since March, and I'm surprised we haven't bumped into each other at least down there. But I know we will next month that I go down there.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, I know we've been in the kind of the same area here and there. And for those of you who just joined us, we're talking with Victor Avila. He's running for Texas Land Commissioner, and right now we're talking about border security, and which is very, very important in this office. Like we said earlier, I really didn't understand how important this office has, how important of a role this office has in border security. And I agree with you, Victor, that yeah, a wall is important, and a wall can do the job, but there's so much more involved with that. I mean, because the reality is the wall is not right up on the river. A lot of people think that the wall is like right up on the river, and so far. Now, and God love our National Guard, God love our DPS troopers, but the reality is they're outside on the other side of the fence, serving as a welcome committee, basically, right? When
that's
all these
right.
aliens come across, and because the fence is not right up on the river, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's not repelling them, and something you said, Victor, is about the way that people use this political offices. You're a former government employee, as are we, and you saw a lot of times people just check the boxes. They do a year here, a year there. They move up, move up. They never really learn in depth the position that they fill at that point. And so when that happens is not only do they walk away with just a very general knowledge of the position they held, but it's not of service to the people that, especially when you're a leader, when you're a supervisor or manager, that doesn't do any good to those people because all you did was just hold the place, and then you moved on. And so the function of that office and the people that are impacted by that office that's a disservice to them. And so I'm glad to hear you
Wow.
say, man, that you would come in and you would, be in office to serve Texans. And the way you serve them best is get in, learn the position, find out what its functions are, look for, best practices, look for ways to clean up the processes, make it more efficient, more effective for the people of Texas. And so I'm glad to hear you say that, your heart is to serve Texans because that's what we need, man. We got a bunch of egomaniacs in
Right.
government right now, arrogant, want to get rich people, and they will sacrifice their principles, their soul. They'll sell their child, to move up the ladder. And so we need servant-minded people like you in office.
Frank, you're hitting it right on the head, and that's the reason why I'm running because people have been telling me, well, we need somebody like you. Well, yeah, well, let's do it. Let's go. But let me tell you, it's hard. It's hard to beat the establishment people to
Yes.
get. That's why
Right.
people don't run because it costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of time. You need all these teams. It is a huge, huge effort to do this. It is not easy. They don't make it easy on purpose. So it could be the same people that continue to recycle and recycle and recycle. But I want to bring something to your point, Frank, and what you said about people in these positions that sometimes should not belong there, especially you and I know, and being in the government and you, Manny, how we've seen like how in the world is this guy the supervisor? How in the world is this guy the assistant
Yeah.
special agent in charge?
Yeah.
Well, I lived it. I lived it in Mexico. You guys know my story, and I think partly is and a lot of it has to blame with the supervision of the that we had in Mexico City when I was
Right.
stationed there, and they sent Special Agent Jaime Zapata and I on this road and ignored all the issues, all the security
Right.
measures. They didn't do anything, and unfortunately, it got an agent killed in line of duty, and I survived by the grace of God after being shot 3 times. So I lived it, believe me, and it's very frustrating to when you see these people at the levels of decision making that life or death
Right.
decisions, and you're like, what in the world?
Yep.
And in my book, I quote the deputy attaché where he says that he wasn't aware of any security issues in Mexico. I'm like, come on, the whole country of Mexico is a
Yeah.
security issue. How
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
say that at that position? But nevertheless, the government did a really good job in smearing my name, especially in the Laredo office. They blame me. They blame Victor Avila for killing Special Agent Jaime Zapata.
Wow.
They blame me. It's all my fault. I screwed up. I did, and but only to protect the supervisors. And guess what? They get promoted, and they did no wrong. So I know exactly how that feels, and I bring all that experience, not just my law enforcement experience, my diplomatic experience, my negotiation experience, and that's a lot that I did in my career is negotiating, crisis management. I worked Katrina, the which this office also oversees
Wow.
when we have natural disasters. This office oversees a lot of money that goes to our public school systems.
Yeah.
And guess what? I'm against. I'm against this CRT, this critical
Yes.
I mean,
race
yeah.
theory that we
Yep.
continue to be pushing down our kids' throats, and
In the state of
it's
Texas,
just
right? In the state of Texas. Nobody. I never
it,
thought that the CRT would try to,
Yeah.
make its way in here, or that people would be
oh, it's
accepting of
here.
it. Yeah.
It's here.
Eh,
We fought it in South Lake. Community stood up. We started electing more conservative board members, and that's the way to do it. Where the people wake up and start acting and use the power of the vote. CRT is a huge issue because it touches everything. It goes into your children's lives. Everything that you
Right.
do at home, they undo at school. All the
Right.
principles that you talk about that we when we teach our kids, all of a sudden they say completely the opposite. And the schools are not for God. They're not for country. They're not for family. And you see it now in this woke uh, atmosphere and environment that we live. But this office oversees a lot of that money that is comes from the offshore drilling. It comes from the land that we sell and lease to for mineral rights to a lot of these individuals. And guess what? I'm gonna question that money.
Yeah.
If this money is gonna go to a Dallas Independent School District that continues to want to teach this to our kids, well, maybe they didn't deserve that kind of funding.
Wow. Yeah.
And but nobody has ever done that.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever stood up. Nobody's ever challenged. And I'll be the one to challenge because I've done things in my career that no one had ever done before. And why did I do them? Because I gave it a shot.
Yeah.
And oh no, we can't do that, Victor. We can't do that. Well, can't do it and never been done before are two different things.
Right.
You know,
And I did things in successful operations, rescued a lot of women and children, and smuggling operations in my career as an ICE special agent that had never been done, especially in Mexico. And then, of course, when it's successful, everybody claps. Oh, it was great, Victor. Yeah. But before, you don't get any
yeah,
support, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
yeah, and Victor, you said a couple of things. Let me not forget one, the establishment. Uh, the block, the establishment is the roadblock to, getting things done uh, in our society, in the parties, etc. But so we'll talk about that. But as you were talking, I remember a situation. Manny and I go, back a long way. And one of the things I remember is there was some training that was coming to our area, and there was suicide prevention and awareness training. Now, you're former law enforcement, having been an ICE special agent, and Manny and I, as agents, I was a supervisor myself, and so here was an opportunity to get training for a situation that is very profound in law enforcement. A lot of people don't know the domestic violence, substance abuse, through self-medication, drinking, basically, and suicide are problems in the law enforcement and military fields for many different reasons. But I remember a manager that I went and said, "Hey, I want to take this training. It's suicide awareness and prevention training." And he looked at me and says, "Well, we haven't had any suicides. We don't need that training." And I was like, "Dude, it's prevention." And so it's a lack of foresight. It's a lack of looking over the horizon, preparing for any possible situation. And as national security, border security, law enforcement personnel, we have that mindset. But unfortunately, what happens is some people become bureaucrats,
Right.
and they're just paper pushers, pen pushers, like we
That's
would
right.
call them. They count paper
Yep.
clips. But it's people
Mhm.
like us, Victor, that are on the ground, that deal with the nuts and the bolts. As a special agent assigned in Mexico, bro, you were in the enemy's house. I mean, we know that the cartels operate in the open in Mexico. And so it takes a special kind of courage, a special kind of mental awareness, to go into a place like that. I mean, your head is in a swivel 360, even when you're sleeping, man.
Yeah.
You got that sense. And it's something that very few people in this world know. Certainly, our men and women in arms know that, and our brothers and sisters in law enforcement know about those feelings and that way of life. And so the other thing you talked about was the role of the establishment. Let's face it, here in America we have a uni party. It's a mixture of Democrats and Republicans, bro, who are in it for power. They're in it for power, money, prestige, position, but they forget the servant aspect of it. And so what happens is they get into power and they forget, quote unquote, the little people. So if you could, Victor, tell us, what are, what's maybe one or two things that as land commissioner you would immediately seek to do, if you were elected, you got swore in. So, aside from the basics of meeting your team, etc., what are what's a key goal that you have to fulfill if you were to be elected as land commissioner?
Immediately, I'm gonna head to the border, and I am gonna talk to. I'm gonna assess what public land Texas owns and how that Texas public land is adjacent to private landowners.
Yeah.
I've been talking to them already since I was the last time I came last month. I went to I was Laredo. I went McAllen, Laredo down to Harlingen, Zapata, and I talked to the ranch owners. I talked to the ranchers and the landowners. They are willing. Some of them are even willing to donate the land.
Wow.
Some of them
Wow.
are willing to sell it, lease it, whatever. Let's negotiate because that you guys know it best. They own the land that's up on the river,
Yeah.
and a lot of people when I go speak, look at the wall that that they were showing on Saturday doing that press conference with Abbott. That thing is like what 2 miles
Yeah.
maybe at least from the river.
Yeah.
It's and so I want to get with them because they are the key factor. So I want to tie in the public land with the private landowner and say, okay, are you okay with us putting a barrier here,
Yeah.
a wall, whatever barrier that we need immediately to stop the flow of the entry points? You guys know the entry points. I know the entry points. For some reason, they will not stop these individuals from coming in.
Yeah.
This will never end
Right.
if we continue to take custody of these individuals.
Right.
We must put a barrier where they cannot come up.
Right.
Now, you know those areas along the border where it's natural barriers. You don't need anything. The river and the bank is so high that you can't come up. But we know the entry points and know them where we know them. The cartel knows them. The illegals know them. They know them.
Right.
For some reason, our government just will not put anything on those areas. Remember what happened with the Haitians,
Yep.
where they were coming in. Not after 15,000 of them came in did they put all the DPS troopers on on the 150 cars. I don't know how many Abbott parked there. But after the 15,000 come in, I remember getting the calls. Hey, Victor, there's 1,000 people down under the bridge. What? And then in the next day, there's 4,000. And then, and you guys are like, and we're like, if I'm hearing it
Yeah.
and I know it, I think our government officials probably knew it too.
Yeah.
Why didn't they send the troopers immediately to block the traffic?
Yeah.
That's leadership, the lack
Right.
of leadership. And
Yeah.
so that's what I'll do. That's the number one thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to meet with them. Let's do the contract. Let's set it up. We have a lot of the materials. Oh, and here's part number 2. I know how to negotiate. I've negotiated at very high levels of this government. And I'm going to go talk to the Biden administration and see who you know the panels. I've seen the panels right there and the extra equipment that we already paid for.
Yeah.
Right.
The taxpayer has already paid for. There's
Yeah.
no way and no need for us to have to. I heard that. Well, maybe the state of Texas can buy it from them. Why should we buy it from them?
Right.
We already paid for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in there and we're gonna have a little chit chat with them and say how we need this equipment to hand it over. Hand it over the material. We need it, and that material is gonna go up initially where the major vulnerable entry points
Right.
into the state of Texas are gonna come in.
And it's
Yeah.
good. I'm sorry. It's good to hear you say. It's good to hear you say that kind of stuff there, Victor, as well. Because I think people don't realize that a wall, as important as it is, it basically acts as a force multiplier. You know, for agents to be able to respond to those entry points that have those natural barriers, but where agents can't be at that point in time. So it acts as a force multiplier. The hard part though, right now, Victor, is that there's no agents available. Right now. Nobody's patrolling. You know, and sad to say, although we have National Guard and DPS here, they basically just, sit with the illegal aliens, the smuggling, and all the smugglers that they stop or try to apprehend. And to tell you the truth, people don't realize that they're actually not in anybody's custody until Border Patrol's called, and so sometimes they're waiting hours for Border Patrol to get over there. What now? We got the landowners on the ranches, out in the surrounding areas that are having break-ins that they can't go on their property anymore. They're basically prisoners in their own homes. I talked to ranchers that can't even leave their property, or actually one I know a couple, husband and wife, one has to stay on the property while the other one goes shopping, or vice versa,
Yeah.
because as soon as they leave, break-ins happen. And then the reality is these cartels know what is happening, right? And that nobody's out there. And the sad thing, it looks like, and it appears to me, that the cartels are using our own resources to protect their smuggling, right? To protect their operations. I don't know
You
if
guys have seen that the smugglers come in 100, 200 yards into the U.S. and then they walk back,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
nobody apprehends them.
No.
Yeah, and we've seen, certainly there's a group of citizen journalists out there, Victor. I know you know several of them. Oscar Blue, Ben Berquim, Anthony Agüero. There's folks out there that are documenting this stuff, and they are showing exactly what we're talking about, where we're actually receiving them, helping them per se get off the boat, walk up the bank of the Rio Grande River. And so Texans, Americans want that to stop, man. They want that to stop. This is an actual invasion. People are coming in. We know as well. I mean, we've talked about it to where, blue in the face about the fact that these people's claims of asylum are very, shaky at best. Some of them, it's not even a credible claim to asylum. But I think, Victor, that as you move forward in your campaign, are you starting to see, or I'm sure you already have, the resistance from, quote unquote, the establishment, those people in government that don't have an interest really in serving the people. All they want to do is line their pockets, serve their own interests. So, what kind of resistance are you meeting? The resistance to your candidacy.
Great point. Great question. Absolutely. I've already gotten a couple of emails. Don't do it. Don't run. Get out. You don't stand a chance, because they're afraid. All of a sudden, when I came in, no one running in this office has the experience that I have on the border. No one. And I want to make sure that people understand that's the focus right now. And I understand the entire scope of this office, like veterans benefits, the school that we talked about,
Right.
Oil and gas is super. I mean, that's how the money comes in to this office. I understand it. And but right now the major concern is that, and yes, Frank, I've gotten the pushback, like, hey, wait a minute. How you're not part of the establishment? You're not part of the. Why are you doing this? I'm doing it because I'm an American. I'm a
Amen.
concerned
Amen.
Texan, and
Right.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
And another thing that I'm going to do is, as a like you said, once you have the authority as a Texas land commissioner, then I get an access to the governor, and let's see who it is, right? But I would have the ability to go brief the governor and say, this is what we need. This is what I need you to do in conjunction with my office, that I'm trying to put up a barrier. And Manny, you're absolutely right. I'm the first one to say the wall is not a solve all. I know
Right.
that. Believe me. And anybody, you guys know that. If anybody says that, they're lying. The wall is an additional tool.
Yes.
Right.
Barriers are an additional tool for our border agents. I'm the first one to understand that. But it's a good tool.
It's a
and we
good
need
tool.
it.
I agree. I agree.
We need it, and let's give them something. Right now, they have nothing.
Right.
Let's give them something, but we need the governor to step up and say, "All right, let's work together." And so, no matter who the governor is, I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna brief them with my experience as the Texas Land Commissioner and say, "Let's go do this. We're not gonna take bodies anymore. We're
Right.
not gonna take bodies anymore. If we interact with them, we're gonna send them right back. That's it. That's it. We have to send a message to Washington, D.C. We have to send a message to the cartels that we need to disrupt this. No one is disrupting it.
Yeah.
The cartels are having a field day.
Yeah.
Biden's not going to disrupt it. And no one, it's this cycle, and everybody's kind of okay with it. I've flown with the illegal aliens. I've flown with, they get on airplanes without identification. How in the world does that happen after 9/11? It does. Right in front of me. I filmed them. People from Uganda, people from Central America getting on airplanes without IDs. And like, wait a minute. Why isn't anyone enforcing this? These are laws that we have on the books that no one is enforcing. We need to just go back. And I'm not asking anyone to do anything illegal. I'm asking anyone to just follow the rule of law.
Exactly, bro. And you say some key things there. We've all gone to the airport. I remember when I had to take off my boots, and man, I mean, all that stuff. Present your ID, wait in line for an hour or two just to get to the waiting area for the airplane.
Even with the TSA number.
Yeah, even with all that stuff, man. And now, these buses pull up and they just get off and they go the back door. We know it's a full-scale invasion. One of the things that I think is really frustrating Texans, and we've talked to many different people about this, Victor, is they are frustrated with what is very obvious, a lack of political will, and even a lack of just will to defend our state, to defend our nation. And they are allowing Texas, bro, to be a muddy doormat, for an invasion. And as Texans, we're pissed off, man. We're angry that this is happening. by the very people that we have elected to do just that. And so, I have an issue with the pandering of politicians, as I'm sure you do, because as men and women who are charged a task, a duty, and we go out and do it, bro. Sometimes we walk out that door. Many of us have never come home again.
That's right.
Because they died in the line of duty. And so they use words like courage, honor, liberty, patriotism. To quote a famous movie here, there's punchlines in a party. But for people like you, Victor, Manny, and I, and so many of the other veterans and law enforcement officers, we see this happening, and we are tired and fed up, man. And so I'm glad that we've got somebody like you with your experience as well running for a high-profile political office. And I can't understand. I've heard that, the governor at times doesn't even talk to other persons in the political hierarchy of Texas. That from our past experience, the commander talks with his staff, with his field commanders, and he will even walk in the field. Commanders walk in the field because they want to hear, what the guy on the ground, the infantry guy, what the paratrooper, what the frontline border patrol agent has to say. And how would you make, your role as a land commissioner, how you said you would reach out to the governor, but how would you take your case before Texans to let them know, what you are trying to do? What is, one of the first things you would do? Are you open to holding? I know you're already doing it as a candidate, but would you be open to maybe, going out on the circuit, go out after elected and meet with people to hear firsthand? I think that's would you be willing to make that pledge here?
Absolutely. Like hold some town halls and hear firsthand from the people. As I've been going around Texas, that's, let me tell you, and this is what I learned a long time before I was an agent. I was a federal probation officer, and one of the U.S. district judges in El Paso, Harry Lee Hudspeth. What I learned from that judge is how to say I don't know. I don't know. You know what? I don't know everything.
Exactly.
But you know what? I'm going to find out, and I'm an intelligent person, and I've learned in my career a lot of things that I didn't know, but I found out. But the most dangerous part is pretending to know when you don't know. And that's why I love going down to the border. Even after my retirement, and I was back in March, I was here in my house, like, how in the world I couldn't take it. I had to go back. I had to. I gotta go there. I gotta go see what firsthand. And let me tell you, firsthand, absolutely, I learned so much. From the agents on the ground, from the people, them telling me their story. I have a gentleman this past month give me a picture of a cartel member walking on his armed cartel member walking on his ranch. I picked up by his camera.
Wow.
And he tells me, Victor, we have guns too. But we're not going to shoot this guy. The wrath of the cartel, the CDN's going to come out and kill my whole family.
And who's going to be able there to help him out? Right now, there's nobody to respond.
There's nobody there to help him. And so that's what you learn when you go down there, when you meet with the people. That's why the border czar, Kamala Harris, will never be down there, because they don't want to hear the truth. They know it, but they don't want for it to be corroborated by the people.
Right. And Victor,
that's why they avoid it.
With the experience that you have, and the experience that Frank and I have in the border patrol, people have, in the interior, away from the border, they have this image of the illegal alien, right? The one who's coming from Mexico, or to try to make a better way for his family, working in the field, things like that. But the reality is that that's not the way it is anymore. You were on the other side. You were there in Mexico, right? Working, and I'm sure there's always whenever you're working there in Mexico, I'm sure there's always Kiki Camarena in the back of everybody's mind every time they're stationed over there. But you saw the behind the scenes. And people wanting to come across that actually want to do harm to our country, that want to infiltrate our neighborhoods, that want to bring drugs in, that illegal alien trafficking is big money, sex trafficking is big money. It's just not the farmer, the worker
Manny,
wanting to come over here.
To your point, you're spot on. You know who I entered? This is 10 years ago. You know who I was gained let's put it this way, special access into interview SIAs, special interest aliens in
Right.
Mexico. And let me tell you, it is scary. These people have been in Mexico for a long
Oh yeah.
time, from
Yeah.
Bangladesh, from Somalia, from Yemen, from Iraq, Afghanistan, from these special interest countries. Look at the guy that just was caught in Arizona
Yeah.
with the from Saudi Arabia with connections to Yemen. There's like the Yemenis terrorists. It is these. This is a national security issue, and let me tell you, they will say nothing. I would interview them with an
Yep.
interpreter,
Yep.
and I would get nothing from them. Once in a while, one would say, "I'm going to New York," and that's it.
Oh yeah.
And they have established communities down there, especially in the Tijuana area where they live. They even
Yeah.
have built their own mosques and their own churches. And the problem here is that we don't know the intention, like you said, Manny. The other ones, well, they want to come and work. We know that the intention is that these
Right.
people, we don't know what in the
What they
world
want,
are they
but
going to do when they
even
get here.
even the ones that want to come into work, a lot of people don't realize that their monies don't stay here, right? They
No,
come, they collect all their monies, they go back to Mexico, or not just Mexico, their country of origin, and the money gets
yeah,
poured back into that economy. That's why their leaders keep encouraging them to cross into the United States, especially when we have a weak, administration like we do in the Biden administration. When Trump was president, that decreased, and we saw that. We saw how effective Trump was, but people don't realize that there are actually people in Mexico, Central America, South America that want to do us harm. And then these fraudulent families that we have coming across where, they're sex trafficking young minors, children, to people who are actually purchasing. I don't know if you saw that tweet the other day about the reporter who was approached by some illegal aliens and said, hey, if you help us get across over here in Yuma, we'll give you a little girl. And that's the way they operate. Human
that's the
life.
way they operate.
Yep.
That's my subject matter expertise is human trafficking. I'm a subject matter expert in that. We took down countless of organizations trafficking women and children from Mexico to New York,
Wow.
Houston, Miami, Atlanta, and what's happening right now at the border is just facilitated.
Yep.
I flew, and this is crazy, from McAllen to DFW with adult males with a young child. You guys have seen this.
Yeah.
They're all kids were like 3 or 4 years old, and they sat next to me. This is like I think God put me there. And there was a guy from Guatemala, illegal alien, with a 4-year-old little girl. It was not his daughter.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. And I questioned this guy hard. And they didn't know I was an ex-agent or anything. And by the way, they didn't speak any English, so I was in. I looked at all their paperwork. They were issued paroles.
Oh my
How
goodness.
in the world
Wow.
do you issue an illegal alien a parole? I'm going through their paperwork, and they got a permit.
Wow.
A parole. This guy was going to Gainesville, Florida, and then I kind of didn't care about him anymore. I cared about the child, and I'm like, hey, it's a 4-year-old. He's giving her a bottle full of Coca-Cola, and I said, where are you gonna put her in school? Oh, she goes to school already. These are not their kids. I had about 12 of them on the plane, and no one cares. The airline is complicit. Everybody's complicit, and I'm right there. My blood is boiling in the plane because I can't do anything about it.
Right.
And where in the world is this child going to end up? I know because I've rescued them in these horrific conditions, horrific that some of these images you just cannot get away from your head ever. But it's real. It exists. I wrote one in my book, an example of a human trafficking case, because I wanted people to get shocked to, because I still get like, well, is that real? Does that really happen? Yes, it does, and it pays a lot of money. And they treat women and children like a wooden table,
Right.
like a product, like
Right.
anything else, furniture. They don't care.
Yeah, Victor, and it's very obvious to us, from what we know of you and what you're telling us here, and what I've learned about you. Definitely, you have a depth and breadth of experience with the border, with national security. You like you said, you were actually in diplomatic service under ICE in Mexico, interacting with other officials from other nations. So let's kind of shift here a little bit because that is well established. But another key area of the land commissioner is the oil field, aspect of it. Now we know that Biden, the leftist administration, the leftists in this country, they want to break our backs, and so that's why Biden immediately shut down, the Excel pipeline construction, and they've sought to affect, you know, the flow of oil. And Texas
Natural
is,
gas.
yeah, natural gas is exactly. And so Texas, that's what we're known for.
Right.
So, what are you finding as you're out there? You're talking, I know you are with people in those fields. What are they telling you, and what are their key concerns, and how would you address their key concerns as the land commissioner? So, what are key issues, and how would you address them?
First of all, I would stand up to the Biden administration and use the power of our Texas sovereignty when it comes to protecting our gas and oil production. They Biden, does everything backwards. We were gas and oil independent, and then now we're not. And so we can be independent on our own in Texas if we wanted to. So it's a matter of dealing with the Biden administration and standing up to them. Second, it's the minerals. It's the resources that the state of Texas leases and the land. And I'm going to tell you which one, what party I'm not going to sell. China. We have sold 140,000 acres to the CCP. You guys know this in Laughlin Air Force Base. They're in Del Rio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How in the world do you sell land to China, our probably number one enemy in the world?
Yeah.
And because China is in Mexico too,
Yes.
working with the cartels, giving them the precursors and the chemicals for the fentanyl and the methamphetamine, the super labs that they have over there. They're in Mexico,
Yeah.
and then they're buying up land in Texas, and the Texas Land Commission, we're selling it to them? Absolutely not.
This is like
Not
this is
under my watch.
this is like a bad movie, man. All these things that are happening. It's incredible.
So what I hear you saying is that you would take the role of land commissioner, Victor, and this kind of ties into a thought I had earlier. You would take the role of land commissioner to a level to where you're looking at it not just production wise, not just protecting our our oil fields, the limits that they have, or the quantities in it, but you would take it to the level of looking at it through a national security lens, looking at it through, okay, what are the weaknesses of our oil, capabilities, oil, natural gas capabilities, and taking it to the next level. In your opinion, is that something right now that the land commissioner, although he's running for another office, has George P. Bush even addressed it in that manner? Has he looked at it from that perspective that you're aware of?
No, I don't believe he has, and that's a perfect way to describe it. It's kind of you look at the protecting our infrastructure, protecting our grid, protecting our gas and oil and gas fields, our offshore drilling. We must protect that. There's some issues with the beaches, and I would always side with Texas first.
Yes.
And everybody else can go pound sand. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
It's time. I'm not afraid to say it.
Yeah.
I have been in this too long. You guys, I almost, I've been through a lot in my life. I'm unafraid.
Yeah.
I'm unafraid. I'm not afraid of the politicians. I'm not afraid of talking to people. Another thing that I bring up really quick is why no one thinks outside the box. And to your point, Frank, is a very important point that you made, and it's a good one. This office has been used, and I already heard this term. It's a pass-through office, Victor.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, it's a pass-through office. Oh, really? It's a pass-through? So you're telling me that the land commissioner is painted on the wall?
Yeah.
Is it a painting of him, or is there a picture of him, or is there an actual person there running this office?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go in there and run the office. First of all, I'm going to see how the funding is distributed. All the money that we get from the oil and gas, all the money that we get from our offshore drilling, that is distributed. Most of it goes to our education system. A lot of it goes back to our veteran benefits. By the way, I am going to put our veterans first. I am
Amen.
going to.
Very good.
They need more state-sponsored cemeteries in rural parts of Texas where they don't have anywhere to bury them.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that. Let's think outside the box. Let's do things that no one has ever done. It's not going to be a pass-through office for me, because if that funding has to go through that office, it's for a reason.
Right.
And I'm going to question it. I'm going to see how it's been going, where it's been going, how it best benefits the citizens of Texas. And if it doesn't, if it's benefiting China, if it's benefiting someone else, then we're going to do something different. And I'll tell you right now, no more sale of land to China. That's for sure.
Amen, bro.
Amen.
Applause, bro.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me do it. We gotta,
Hey.
one of the things that we've worked in the federal government for many years, all of us here, and we understand how money, brothers, is redirected, at the appropriate time. It seems like we have no money for this, we have no money for that, and then come the end of the fiscal year, oh wait a minute, let's dump the money over here.
They want to spend on everything crazy.
They want to spend on everything crazy. And you're right. I think people have treated this office, with George P. Bush. I have issues because he kind of has the same mentality as his father in the sense of the globalist mentality. So I think that's one of the big reasons why they don't look at it at the national security level. With those eyes.
We haven't even talked about our monuments and the Alamo. Look
Oh,
at
that's
what they
right.
want.
Yeah.
The left wanted to move the monument in front of the Alamo to in front of the Manger Hotel next door, and I'm no one has the courage to say no, you're not.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you're not. I'm the land commissioner, and it's going to stay there, and period.
That's it.
And this is our history. This is what we teach our kids. This is the things that we did right. These are the things that we did wrong. We learned from our things, and that's why we are the great state of Texas that we are today.
Right.
No, they want to undo the history because somebody owned a slave, because somebody was white, because somebody was black, because somebody. All this identity politics is garbage. Let's go back to logical, and practical governing to where it best benefits the people. And it's a very simple concept. This is not, believe me, guys, what you and I did as agents is a lot harder than this job. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
This all it takes is a little bit of courage and a little bit of thinking outside the box to want to do something, like you said, Frank, to want to serve. And that's all I've been in my whole life, is in public service. This is a natural path for me to say, well, this is the best way for me to serve the people is serve them in this type of capacity.
And Victor, you said some. Obviously, you've been saying critical things here, key things. The role of China. We've said it before.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on China because they are making big moves in Mexico, huge moves. The Biden administration, they're compromised with China. We all know that they're setting us up. And so right now we need a class of warrior statesmen that are rising up, bro, that see that this is merely beyond just gaining office and the power and the prestige, the position. This is about putting people in place who are going to fight to their last breath to preserve Texas, preserve our freedoms, preserve our way of life. And I think because Victor, you and your partner were shot at. You have been under fire, brother. Your partner died in your presence. You were wounded. Manny and I have seen death up close many times ourselves. And so, brother, I think that when you have that added element as part of your life experience, when you move into positions like the one that you're seeking, like the one that we're seeking here, we come with a perspective of this is not games.
Right.
These are not games. This is about actual service to our country. And when you say that, you have got to be willing to shed your blood and even die in service to your country. And so I'm glad that there's a warrior class of candidates that's rising up, brother, that are taking the bull by the horn. They're challenging the uni party, the establishment. They're challenging those people in power right now. They want to hold on to it, and they're going to say and do anything they possibly can to destroy the character of people like us, because all we want to do is do what's right for Texas and our nation. And we want to call out the deeds of darkness into the light of day and expose what they're doing, because it's been hurting us, Victor.
Right,
it's killing us as a nation, man.
And not just our state. I get calls from out of state, and people are donating. I had a call from a lady from Virginia. She gave me $50 to my campaign.
Praise God.
And she's like, because she understands that what happens in Texas
That's
is
right.
affecting their state. You guys know this.
Yeah.
All the people are going everywhere in the country, and a lot of the crime surge that we've had in this country right now, a lot of it is attributed to the cartels and the illegal aliens. A lot of it, not all of it, but a
Yeah.
lot of it is. And and people are feeling it in their communities. Like, what in the world is happening? Yonkers, New York, and all these places that you would never think about it. What the heck is going on? Well, the open borders.
Yeah.
It came through Texas, and so people are like, "We want to support you," and I'm like, "Yeah, what we try to do here, we're protecting Texas, but at the same time, we're protecting the rest of the country as well."
Right, and I think people don't understand. We all want to help people. There are people in need in other countries. When I served in the border patrol, for all those years, I empathize with those who are trying to come across. But the reality is, Mexico has laws, Central America has laws, South America they have laws. Everybody that has borders has some type of immigration law, and we've always told people, look, nobody's saying that nobody can come to this country. They just have to do it legally, and illegal immigration, all that does is damage a country, and then we have the security issue as well. But Victor, we got to start wrapping up. But you do have a website, correct? That people
Please,
can go to.
yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to put it up on the screen here real quick, and let me see if I gotta set it up
Yeah,
here.
it's VictorAvilaTX.com. Victor Avila Avila TX.com, and I'll do. This is my little campaign. I'm not forgive me for not being a professional politician, but this is the hardest part is the money.
Yeah.
I need the money to be able to continue in the race to stay in the fight. It is a reality. That's the way the system is set up. And I have to be traveling all over the state starting in January. I'm gonna see you guys down there. I'll call you when I'm down there.
Yeah.
I want to do two separate trips. One to the Del Rio area, Eagle Pass, and then another one down to the Laredo, McAllen area. So I will let you guys know when I'm down there. And yes, if you guys promote the website VictorAvilaTX.com, if people whatever they can donate it is very helpful. $5, $10, 50. If you have more, that's great. It keeps the campaign going.
Yes.
It's a reality of these things. That's why I said, like I said earlier, people don't run because, man, it's hard. I have a call list. I have to call people, ask donation. That's the hardest part for me because I've never done that in my life before. It's
Yeah.
weird, like, hey, can you give me money? It's weird, but
Yeah.
but it's a necessary thing that has to be done. And I just like I talked to you guys today. I talked to a lot of people. What you see is what you get with me. This is me. This has been me a lot. Yes, my life changed in 2011, but you know what? It changed for the better. It made my family and I stronger convictions. You talk about our love for our state and for our country. Oh my goodness, if I loved it before, even more so now. And I tell the story of being on that highway by myself and how lonely I felt for 40 minutes there before the help arrived. How being a Mexican American, a descendant, I don't ignore my heritage. I hate Mexico. No. Separate that. I'm an American first, and when I was there, believe me, I felt that I wasn't from there, and all of a sudden, like, oh my God, I felt like could have been in China.
Yeah.
That's how foreigner I felt, and after the things happened and they had to get me out in the middle of the night, it was because of that. You're not from here. And like, laws are different in the different countries.
Right.
And so I want people to understand that. And I thank you for bringing that up, Manny. I'm very pro legal immigration.
Same.
I love people to come to this country legally. What's happening right now at the border is complete lawlessness.
Yep.
I'm the law and order candidate.
Very good.
Real quick question from Elva Camacho, who, by the way, says hello.
Oh,
yeah.
hi.
She wants to know what's the ballpark figure, Victor, of illegal aliens that have come into our country? What's the latest number you heard, more or less?
You hear the 1.7 million apprehended in the official number. That's not even close. Personal and professional opinion, I think we're close to 4 million.
Yep.
Since Biden took over.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about
Since January.
I'm talking from January to, so we're gonna be a year. I think we've hit 4, if not more than that.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to agents, they think that for every person they apprehend, there's at least 1 or 2 that got away.
And that's very conservative. Our numbers are
And
one.
I'm being very
Yep.
conservative.
Yep.
4 million. It could be 10.
Right.
But I'm being conservative too. I'm doubling it to be conservative. Either way, it's too many.
It's too many.
It's
Way too
unacceptable.
many. And a lot of criminal guys, a lot of criminal aliens, prior deports.
Yep.
people that I put in prison
Yeah.
are coming back.
Oh yeah, real quick, we got a couple of minutes. Talking to quite a few agents, we're finding out also, Victor, that they've been apprehending lappers that are coming, illegally admitted for permanent residence, people that lived here before, right, and then lost their status due to criminal activity, or
Good point.
or it
We
expired.
just learned something today
Yeah,
from you
yeah.
guys. I hadn't even thought about lappers. Absolutely, that's the legal, lawfully alien
Admitted.
permanent residence.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, they're crossing back into the United States illegally because they lost their status.
And Victor, I know you still keep the lines of communication open, all across this border region and even into Mexico. Right now, in the age of mandates, where this is affecting your former colleagues and our former colleagues, and even family members that are right now in government service with mandates, how it's being forced on Americans. Let me ask you, what are you hearing about diseases that are coming up from Mexico? I know you have some insight into that. What are you hearing about some of these diseases that have never been seen or haven't been seen in a
Never been
generation in
seen.
America?
They're coming, and they're coming this week, this week and next week. And Africans are carrying not just the sexually transmitted diseases, which tells you something, right? HIV, gonorrhea, syphilis. They're carrying flesh-eating bacteria or diseases, flesh-eating bacteria. They're coughing, they're throwing up, they have fevers. No one knows what they're actually suffering from. Central Americans are bringing dengue fever.
Dengue fever, yeah.
That's something that we don't even deal with. And I know of a personal experience because my comadre, who is stationed, my compadre is stationed in Guatemala, she got dengue fever and almost died.
Wow.
And let me tell you, they didn't bring her to the U.S. They didn't medevac her. You know why? Because the U.S. doesn't deal with that.
Yeah.
They said that since Guatemala deals with that, they actually treated her there and they saved her life.
Wow,
Dengue
thank God.
fever coming, cholera, COVID. That's a freebie.
Yeah.
All these issues that's going to affect our frontline agents.
right.
They're going to get infested
Which
with
is
these diseases.
which is gonna
and they're
flood
gonna
our
get
medical
sick.
system. Yeah, and it's gonna flood our medical system.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
You guys, we could talk about this for hours. It's a mess down there.
Yeah.
It's healthcare. It's criminal justice. It's education. It's a lot of things that affects our state and country. And I want to be able to do something about that.
Well,
at
Vic,
this,
well,
at
Vic,
this level.
when you come down to Del Rio, make sure you call us. That way we can have you back on the show over here, so we can talk about a lot of this.
It would be great to
No,
have you.
I'd love to be out there with you guys on the field for sure.
Yeah, we'll bring you in real quick. We can sit at the studio here and then do a special live broadcast. But I know we're real short on time, but one of the other key areas that you would deal with is veterans, bro. And Manny and I are both veterans. Manny and I both served in the Army. So what's one quick message to veterans that are watching you? What would you do for the veterans that you would be charged with taking care of?
To the veterans of Texas, the first thing I would tell you is that I have your back. You're going to have somebody that understands the sacrifice that not only you, but your family has gone through. I'm not a veteran, but I could tell you that a lot of veterans tell me, hey, Victor, you're one of us because you've been battle tested. You've been there. You've gone through these horrific experience in Mexico, and I appreciate that. But I tell them, listen, I know the sacrifices of the family. I know the sacrifices of the soldier. I know the sacrifice of the individual. I will see that every money of this office that is funded towards our veteran benefits is looked at not just because that's the way it used to be for the last 15, 20 years. No, I want to see how we could improve that money by maybe new cemeteries, maybe new facilities. What other benefits do our veterans need now? Modern facilities. Maybe it's been 10 years ago, it's old. Let's look at something new. But I got your back. You will not be forgotten in that office.
Very good. Well, Victor, thank you so much for being on our program today. We hope to, when you come down to Del Rio, like I said, sit down with us, have a taco, some coffee. We'll have a nice
get me some
discussion.
good food down there when I go down there. I'll be out there in January.
Very good. We're looking forward to having you. So, Victor, we're gonna switch the screens here right now. So I want to say thank you so
sir.
much.
God bless you, man.
God bless you,
Thank you.
and be safe. And again, may the Lord bless you and keep you.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks. I want to thank you so much for having joining us here this morning with Victor Avila. And so we thank you again. You can go to his website. We'll post it up here real quick on the screen as well. And I'm just trying to close this out here real quick.
Yeah, no, thanks. Hey, folks, you had a chance here to listen to another one of your candidates. We're making it part of our priority here at Talk About It Live to bring in, the people that are willing to come and talk to us because they know that, we have something to say. We are presenting to you your future leaders. And as we go down this road, more coming, we get contacted by other people that are coming to the border regions. They want our firsthand experience. They want to see what's happening. And that gives us a tremendous opportunity to provide you a service, providing you information on the candidates that are out there. And as always, we say it, vet them. And the people that have nothing to hide, like Victor and others that we've interviewed, are perfectly okay with that because they understand the concepts of transparency and accountability. It's when people start throwing up walls and diversions, folks, that you got to key in on that stuff. So we're glad to have Victor here today with us, Manny.
Yep.
And there's other folks that are coming into the area. We'll try to line them up. Some Republican representatives I was contacted want to come in, and we're gonna help good Republicans get into office because we need conservatives. We need true patriots to get in, and we need to weed out the wannabe rhinos and get them out or keep them out, from the get-go.
Very good. Yeah, and like we said, like and share this program as well. We do have a website, talkaboutitlive.com. You can go to our website, email us with any questions, concerns, comments, things like that. And folks, again, like Frank said, we're gonna try to bring you the best that we can as well, so you can get informed on who to vote for. Primaries are coming up in March, right? And so, folks, you got to get out there, vet your candidate, and let's save Texas.
Yes.
Texas is sinking.
Yep.
And we got to save it, and the United States as well. So we want to say God bless you, folks, and God bless America, and God bless Texas.
Later.